Welcome to the party. This is your boy Malintent. We're gonna go over the brands. I just want to go over the brand stuff because I like brands, not as much as other things, but I like brands. So before we start going off on this, let me pause the music for a second. I want to make sure we can hear everything that's going on the demo. Let's see here. So a PENANCE brand, that actually looks pretty good. PENANCE brand plus increased duration. It blows up pretty good. Swift brand just blows it up quicker. I kind of like that. Yeah. That's an Armageddon brand. That's my boy. I love Armageddon brand. Armageddon brand. Nice. See how Armageddon brand drops everything and it just blows up. Now this winter brand, this Wintertide brand, that actually looks kind of interesting. It's a damage over time. Might be a problem. Might not be able to make what I want. Arcanus brand with Shock Nova. Now that is not where I would have gone. Arcanus brand with Fireball. We saw that kind of in the demo before. Give me a freezing pulse. Come on, you know you want to. Alright, they ain't gonna give me no freezing pulse. That's okay though. So let's go ahead and break this down. New brands, brand mechanics, and everything like that. Okay, so let's get right to it. So Arcanus brand is one of the newest, one of the newer ones. I like Arcanus brand. I think it'll be a very interesting situation to be able to be used on the system. So first and foremost, the reason why I say that is I like how Arcanus brand says any triggerable spell with it. Okay, so since it's any triggerable spell, let's go ahead. PoE Frostbite. So let's go ahead and PoE Frostbite. Let's hit the thing. Okay, so Frostbite's a spell. It's AoE, duration, curse, cold. So this is where I have a question, because one of the things that they said earlier is also supports any triggerable spell linked with it. Each time the brand activates, it triggers a supported spell, allowing you to build your brand setup, potentially even trigger multiple different spells in succession. So what happens if I set up my my Arcanus brand to be Frostbite and then have it do Freezing Pulse? So Frostbite will automatically do a couple of different things for you, which is a good thing. Frostbite also, it curses the enemy with a cold resistance debuff. Cursed enemies are going to take increased cold damage. Okay, so I'm getting a 14% increased cold damage. I can get all the way up to 44% reduced cold resistance, and then you throw that on top of a freezing pulse. So we throw that on top of a freezing pulse. And so freezing pulse is going to do damage. It's got a pretty nice damage, and it pierces all the guys on the thing. So I thought about this, and I think that this is probably going to be a really nice combo. But I also think that there's going to be a better combo. And well, not necessarily. It might be a better combo. So we already know that we're probably going to be running. You're down 2 slots automatically because you got your curse and your Arcanus brand. Then you're going to be running another 4 slots for damage. That actually can be pretty good, especially like with the clusters and you do an elemental configuration. So you'll be able to do freezing, do a lot of the extra damage and stuff. I think that is a nice combo. Another combo that this allows us to have is Despair and Soul Rend. Soul Rend is very expensive. I mean, humongously expensive. Even if you throw it inside of mines and things like that, you use Soul Rend inside of a mine, or you use Soul Rend inside of a trap, they still seem to be very, very very expensive to cast. I wonder how it's going to be running Arcanist, because then I can Despair somebody, which is going to be a very good debuff, and then you're going to be running Soul Rend on it. So you can sit there and you can hit him with a Despair, and of course, when you run Despair, you're going to be getting 29% Chaos reduction, 25% increased damage. You get a little bit of Chaos damage increase against base damage increase against bad or against cursed item or cursed guys. So with Soul Rend has a leeches energy shield, and then you add in the base damage per second for here and the base chaos damage. Pierces all targets. I actually think that that's going to that'll equate out to be pretty nice if you get the right build. I don't know exactly. I'm still working on that, but I think that's going to be pretty nice because you can stack, and stacking is going to be what you really want. You're really looking at. You can stack. You can stack two spells back to back. Something that debuffs the people automatically when it activates. Then the next thing is going to be damage. So when you trigger multiples, does it trigger at the same time? Does it trigger one after the other? I don't know yet. Still out. My mindset is still out on that. Now the Penance brand is one of the newer ones. So Penance brand I got questions on. So it looks like it builds up, just kind of does a little damage, builds up and everything like that. Then when somebody dies or the brand expires, the explosion will happen. So I don't know if that's going to be a really good thing or a really bad thing. How much damage does it do on every tick? And then after the damage it does every tick, does it disappear? And then do I have to create a new one? When it explodes, does it explode and the brand is gone? Or is it he exploded, the damage is exploded and the brand is still available? Because it kind of I don't know. So this right here, this means that that with repeated activations, it can rapidly spread through a group of enemies, energizing them all. Okay, so you energize them all. If the brand becomes fully energized, they start pulsing damage around them, so reaching the full charge won't waste any damage. Okay, so I get full charge and I get to do that. You can shorten the duration of the brand to have automatically go off after a brief time, or use brand recall to force detonations when you detach the brand. So it sounds like you can run brand recall and it'll pull it back off of the guys, and then it'll explode whatever damage is on them. I don't know. It looked good in the video. Don't get me wrong. Oh yeah, let's look at that video. Showed it looks really nice. The Wintertide brand is a cold brand. I've been saying they should have had a cold brand from the start, because they got fire, they got electricity, but you're gonna ignore cold. Why are you gonna ignore cold? That was just my opinion. So they did say something that was really interesting about this one, which I kind of was like, oh, that's actually pretty interesting. Which is right here. This means that your character can build will be quite different from the cold damage over time skills. But the duration-based nature of brands means you can easily cast a cold skill like Vortex, Cold Snap, or Arctic Breath in between refreshing your brand. So when I was looking at that, at first I was like, okay, that sounds good. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to do it, but it sounds good. But since it's a cold damage over time, you might want something like that to, throw out an Arctic Breath, hit somebody, freeze them up a little bit. So the brand mechanics. This is brand recall and brand mechanic adjustments. This is the big one. We really got to pay attention to this because it means play styles completely can change. Okay, so brand recall still instantly moves your brands to you and activates them, but no longer refreshes the brand duration. No longer refreshes the brand duration. Yeah, I abused this little piece. I used to get the Magma Shield, Empower, and I used to get the Swift with this in this last one was the Second Wind to make it so quick. I used to just hold the brand in my left click button and just walk around, and the brand would just boom, 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 just stick with me, and just I would never have to cast. It just refreshes. I'm instantaneous. I got a level 11 brand recall, refreshes like instantaneously almost, and constantly stays up off of just a little bit of mana. So it made it really nice for me being, start to use like a mom. I was running a mom build with an Archmage kind of configuration. It was fantastic. I demolished things. I liked it. But, they're getting rid of that. No more cheesy cheat. Okay, so this prevents brands benefiting heavily from Archmage support without the same mana upkeep the support usually requires. Yeah, so like I said, I didn't even get to that next sentence, but I knew what they were talking about because I abused the heck out of it. We generally feel that if a common build has ongoing damage with very little input, it should deal below average damage or require massive investment. Certain brand builds that instantly refresh brand duration indefinitely provided too much power for the opportunity cost. Rather than lowering the damage of these builds, we've changed the mechanics to let the build be played passively. The cooldown of brand recall has been lengthened, but we've also provided new avenues of investment so that you can still bring it down to a similar length. As a small change to remove some of the more potentially passivity of brands now return to their original or recalled location when dropped by monsters, rather than the dropped monsters location. This puts a greater focus on brand activation or attachment range and prevents the brand from disappearing into the distance while killing monsters you've yet to see. What that pretty much means is, so if you remember back in the day, like I was saying, I'd hold the button, just run across the screen. Brands would come back to me, circle around me, and just shoot off, and they would just kill things that were off the screen. Because if it attached to something on the edge of the screen and it died, the brand would drop, connect to the next creature, which would be off screen. So I would just be wiping things on the run. That is exactly what they're talking about. So the two major things that you have to see and remember and understand about brands right now. Brand recall doesn't increase your brand duration anymore. Brand attachment goes back to the original location, not where the monster dies. So that kind of it means that my brands, after it kills something, I could be running across the screen, get off the screen, and it's going to go back to where I was. Then I'm going to have to brand recall it back to where I am. So it's not going to be a very quick attachment. So you're going to have to kind of leapfrog your brands a little bit. So it's not just hold the button and run throughout the map. It's going to be hold the button, run a screen ahead, kind of wait for the recall, run a screen ahead, wait for the recall. Then cast, because you can't do it. You can't keep it up and running anymore. It's going to be constant casting. And so that's going to eat away at anybody who was running the Archmage kind of configuration I was. Archmage made brand recall and brands ridiculous last week. So they're just clearing that up. So with the review of brands, I'm still going with most likely to start my starting build is going to be an Arcanist brand. And then after the Arcanist brand, I'm going to tie in Frostbite and Freezing Pulse. And you might be wondering why. So let's just go ahead and I'll just give you the reasons why. It's pretty much the easiest way to show you. Okay, so the way the brands work, or the way the Arcanist brand works, we know we're going to be able to do the Frostbite first. So it's going to automatically curse guys. Hey, I cursed them. I'm going to curse them. I'm going to give them a negative code resistance. I'm going to be able to throw a little extra damage, 14% increase in damage to the enemies. Not a problem. But let's just go ahead and let's just think. What else can I do to increase the damage? So we got Freezing Pulse. We know Freezing Pulse. We know the damage it does. It does about 1,000 cold damage up to the maximum. So let's just go ahead and add on what else we can tack on that. This First Snow. This is it right there. First Snow is going to give me a 10% projectile increase. Gives me 2 extra projectiles. And Freezing Pulse damage is going to be increased by 25%. So I can increase my Freezing Pulse by 50%. 50%. Increase by 50%. 20% projectile damage increase. And shoot out 4 projectiles for 2 jewel slots. 2 jewel slots. Now, let's just go ahead and think about that. That means I don't have to throw greater multiple projectiles in place. No greater multiple projectiles. No lesser multiple projectiles. I'm not going to be needing to run anything like Pierce or any of those things because of the way Freezing Pulse operates. So for right there, I got a 50% increase in damage, a 20% increase projectile damage, 4 Freezing Pulse additions. So I'm shooting out 5 total. 1 Freezing Pulse, 2 and 2. So that's 5 coming from a brand. So I'm going to be throwing a brand out there. It's going to curse and shoot 5 out. Curse, shoot 5 out. To me, that's just ridiculous. That's awesome. That means I throw it on the screen and I'm going to be hitting a lot of people for very little drawdown in my damage. So it's going to be a very little drawdown because greater multiple projectiles gives me 4, but it reduces my damage by 26% damage. 26% projectile damage decrease. Now, it might be something that I might do if, let's just say, I'm running and I'm just trying to clear things on a screen. In other words, I'm not running high level content. I'm just, around about 13, 14 maps. I probably could throw greater multiple projectiles in there, and then I'll be shooting out, if I put those 2 jewels in place, add another 4 on top of that, so I'm shooting 9 things out per brand. It might actually wipe screens. Don't know. Just, but I have, if I want higher damage output, I probably will drop this and throw some other things on top of it. Damage increases is going to be what I'm going to be doing. Anything to increase my physical damage, or not my physical damage, my elemental damage, is probably going to be what I'm going to want to run. So we already know that'll be added damage. Added damage. Man, they calling me that word like crazy. Okay, so that'll be like the different things will be like, elemental damage increase, things like that. Elemental proliferation might be something I want to run. I mean, because the key thing about it that I think about it, which is going to be like ridiculous and is going to make it really nice, is if I can get 20% chance to freeze, add on Ice Bite, I think is the one. Ice Bite support does a freeze increase. It gives me the frenzy charges. Oh, no, gives me the freeze increase. 15% chance. So right there, I got 35% chance of freezing an enemy. Then you add in Hypo, doesn't do anything but increase your damage. So if they're cold, if they're chilled, I get to do that. Oh, what is it? Herald of Ice. That's the one. So Herald of Ice can't freeze. But if you throw in Herald of Thunder and get that to go off, you can kind of get that almost auto bomb type situation going. But you know what you see what I'm talking about. If you can get your freeze, if you can get your chance to freeze, there you go, chance to be frozen, 14%. So I can get myself up to about 40 or close to 50%. But if you can get yourself up to about 50, 60% chance freeze capability in your build, because you got Frostbite, you got Ice Bite, you got the Freezing Pulse itself, maybe Proliferation, and you throw on some other a unique, get yourself up to about 60-70% chance of frost, and then you sit there and you're just tossing out brand and it's just freezing everybody. You run for Herald of Ice, crack everything open. Might be an awesome build. But I personally would go for more damage. You just might need to figure out, which would be. But this probably will be my build from the start. Is going to be trying to do an Arcanist brand. Going to try to get Arcanist brand with Freezing Pulse and get that up and running, because it will be fantastic. In my opinion, we'll see. I probably am wrong, but I won't know until I start. My second build, if I'm going to do a brand build, my second build might be an Arcanist build, but using Soul Rend. So right off the bat, Arcanist build, going to be running Hierophant, Arcanist build, dealing with what you want to call it? Arcanist build, Hierophant, Freezing Pulse. That's going to be my first one. My next one, if I get enough gear, things and stuff like that, probably is going to be Arcanist build, Despair, Soul Rend, and running a Shadow. Just to see if it works. If both of those don't work out well, I think they'll be great in clearing. So I will be able to make a ton of cash pretty quickly, I believe, with that. But if they don't do very well for in-game content, which I doubt they will be doing good in-game content. So what I mean by that is clearing screens, not a problem. Clearing mobs, probably not a problem. Bosses will be an issue. Because I don't think I'll be able to scale and run things the way that I'm going to want to. It's going to be very interesting. If I can get that to pop out, I think it'll be pretty nice. Then I'll probably be working on something else, and most likely it's going to be because they gave out the things yesterday. It'll be something with a slam. They already told you that they're going to be doing two-handed weapons, increasing slams. Now, I might just do my old one, which is not a slam capable. It's not a slam. This is a strike. I might just go ahead and because they redid not Rallying Cry, but one of the war cries from yesterday. They displayed it. I had a Vigilant Strike build. The Vigilant Strike build, the one good thing about the Vigilant Strike build is that it works really well with melee stun. It works well with melee stun. And what they did for the brand, or not the brands, what they did for the war cries was they made a modification to the war cry that's going to make me happy. So, not that one. Where is it? War cries, right there. Seismic Cry. That's the one that's going to make me happy. Reason why: releases a shockwave, which taunts enemies and knocks them back. That's number one. It grants a buff that makes it easier to stun enemies. So it makes Vigilant Strike just even better. And then it's going to increase my damage and give me a better area of effect with my normal attacks becoming progressively more powerful for each attack. So in other words, what it means is how I was running it in my original build. This is leagues ago because I don't know if it'll work now, but I'm going to try it, see if I can get it out, is running this with Vigilant Strike, Seismic Cry, Ancestral Call, Melee Splash. The Melee Splash will get increased damage or increased area, increased damage because of Seismic Cry. I will automatically generate more endurance charges. So what I'm saying is I might be able to get rid of stun support to give myself more damage, and keep in endurance charge on melee stun support. So one of them I think gave damage. The other one just kind of sat there and didn't do much. What's the duration? Yeah, this one just gave me a reduce enemy stun threshold by 49%. This one did you gain an endurance charge. So yeah, it gives the threshold's less, but I get an endurance charge and I get more damage per endurance charge. So that's why I want to keep this one over the stun support. I can get rid of the stun support because I can probably pick up some of that from the Seismic Cry. But League's not started yet. These are all theories, theory crafting, just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do on the next league in Harvest. I hope this helps you in having you think about some of the different things that you might want to do inside of Harvest. Glad to help going over some of the every time that they come out with an update. I'm going to be here trying to go over what they're announcing, give you my own takes on what they're actually announcing, because we need to start theory crashing, start figuring some stuff out. I hope this helps you in your quest for ultimate power. Talk to y'all later. Peace.